We're standing on the edge now. This is the moment that we came for. And now we're going it alone. We just wanna know, we just wanna go into the unknown.
Welcome to another edition of PCW Ultra Mutiny. Mike Simmons here with you, and this week we kick off tournament action to determine the first ever male champions in Ultra history. Now, we began the month by reliving the crowning of Tessa Blanchard as Ultra Woman Champion back at May the 4th in 2018. But a tidal wave 2 years prior, the Ultralight, Tag Team, and Heavyweight Championships were decided in a one-night supercard featuring some of the very best wrestlers from around the world. In our main event this week, Brian Cage takes on the undefeated God of War JR Kratos as the Effin' Machine makes his Ultra debut in a first-round match to crown the inaugural Ultra champion. We'll also bring in this non-tournament match from Clear the Way. Caesar Black leads the Samoan werewolf, Fatu, into battle against young upstart Douglas James. But coming up next, renowned Puerto Rican star Mr. 450 makes his debut against the unpredictable mat scientist Kevin Martenson in round one of a tournament to crown the first ever Ultralight champion. Let's take it to Todd Kennelly and Christian Cole on the call.
Kevin Martenson, one of the talented individuals that has a shot to go for the gold here tonight. He's got his eyes on the light heavyweight title, looking to be the first ever man to hold that title, but he's got a tough road ahead, including this first round matchup.
Well, Kevin Martenson having a tough road and behind us as well. I mean, he didn't get his first win here at PCW yet, but Kevin Martenson is a legit competitor and PCW management knows it. So tonight they decided to bring in an international superstar to face Kevin Martenson. And the winner of this match between Martenson and his opponent will go on to face Scorpio Sky tonight for the light heavyweight championship.
Mr. 450 out of Puerto Rico, the last of his kind. No stranger, Christian Cole, to championship gold. He's a former WWC Universal Heavyweight Champion in Puerto Rico, a two-time WWC Junior Heavyweight Champ, and an IWA Junior Heavyweight Champ, among various other titles. He's held a lot of gold, and it might be just that way here for him tonight.
As you said, Todd Kennelly, Mr. 450 has been adorned with gold no matter where he's gone. And so it was natural for him to want to come in here and make a deal with PCW management and get a contract to wrestle on these shows and earn another title. Will it be his night tonight, or will Kevin Martin extinguish the fiery hopes of Mr. 450?
And back to your comment on Kevin Martenson. He was unsuccessful in getting a victory in his debut over Willie Mack, but a phenomenal match. But he is coming off of a PCW victory over Timothy Thatcher, a very unique matchup. But this will be high-flying exploits, and maybe Martenson's going to go back to a bit of a ground game that he exhibited against Thatcher, because he's got to try and ground 450. This guy can fly like nobody's business.
Yeah, these fans are in for an absolute treat. Todd Kennelly, Christian Cole, we are absolutely in for a treat as well. Dan Masters, our ring announcer, he's in for a treat. The referee, Rick Knox, he's in for a treat. This is going to be a match for the ages, folks. And the winner still has to wrestle again.
Excellent point. That's why I talked about them having a long road. Got to think somebody keeping a real keen eye on this is Scorpio Sky, who has earned a bye to the finals of this championship tournament. Scorpio Sky here in PCW, earning that right by being undefeated. He's beaten the likes of TJ Perkins, Kenny King. And now we see a great matchup in the making here as Mr. 450 goes with the leg kick early.
Yeah, Mr. 450 really trying to feel out Kevin, trying to take down the legs. I think 450 is a really smart wrestler. This is a guy who researches his opponents. knowing for weeks now that he'd be facing Kevin Martenson. He knows he has to take out the legs of Martenson in order to slow Martenson's speed and agility down.
I can't see so well from here, but I think after that leg kick, Martenson got a little massage there on the hamstring from Cringer, or maybe it's Battle Cat. I'm not sure.
I think it's Battle Cat. That's certainly Battle Cat.
Both men trading leg kicks in the early going, and Mr. 450 out of Puerto Rico is really a worldwide competitor, though. Has competed in the land of the rising sun for such promotions as 0-1 and Michinoku Pro. He's competed here in the U.S., but this is proof positive how PCW brings the very best from around the globe right here.
That's exactly right. PCW's roster is completely stacked. Guys from all over the world calling management, trying to get on these shows. But we scouted out 450. That's the way that worked here. We wanted 450 on this show to prove that our guys in PCW can hang with the best in the world. And this is already off to a great start with a headlock takeover there. And a quick counter by Martenson. And he tries to nip up, but frustrated as he can't do it because of the logo on the ring. Our wonderful sponsor there.
Martenson slipping. He's got a little bit of egg on his face now, and no one loving it more than his opponent, Mr. 450. And again, in a matchup like this, a tournament setting where you got to try and get the win, and you're going to have to go against someone who's rested because Scorpio Sky doesn't have a round one match. Do you try and get the quick win somehow here, Christian?
Yeah, you're going to have to try and get a real quick win because you do have another match. And Sky right now is at the massage table in the back. He's actually relaxing, getting ready for his match. So no matter what happens tonight, Sky will be facing a guy who's already had to go through a really tough opponent. I mean, no matter who wins this match, and some distractions here. These guys really kind of jawing around here. Oh, wow. Oh, man.
I think playtime is over. They're ready to get down to business. Martenson catches a beautiful overhead belly-to-belly suplex. Delivers on the money. And the first real impactful move of the match, advantage Martenson.
Advantage Martenson, and that's not something you're going to get back very easily. Once Kevin Martenson has the advantage, he rarely gives it up. Martenson, a veteran in his own right, over a decade here in the industry in SoCal Pro Wrestling and around the world. Formerly of the Rock Nest Monsters, tag team champions pretty much everywhere they went.
Has held single gold regionally as well, but would love to win the prestigious prize here tonight and make history. Springboard crossbody by Mr. 450. Snaps off the Hurricane Rana. Oh, man, and he spiked Martenson with that.
Yeah, he sure did. Now Martenson spills out to the outside of the ring, trying to gather his wits here. And what is 450 gearing up for here?
Well, I was about to say, now usually this would be like going to the sidelines, take a timeout. But in this light heavyweight division, Mr. 450 tried maybe for the suicide dive, but it was just that because Martenson caught him with the drop kick.
Incredible presence of mind by Kevin Martenson to stop 450 with the drop kick. And Martenson now wasting time on the outside, just sort of looking at us, asking if we saw it. We did, Kevin. We saw what happened there. It's phenomenal, but you should probably get back in the ring and face your opponent.
Now, in this matchup, this first round matchup, you know, a count out, would count, disqualification. You got to be careful. Do whatever you can to get to that second round.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Todd Kenneally, with a couple big chops by 450. Both of these men already going through hell and high water in this match. And we're only about 5 minutes into it. These guys are kicking each other's heads in.
And the attempt at high risk was not high reward for Mr. 450. Went for the suicide dive, paid for it with the drop kick, and now Martenson is so devastating, diabolical, and especially with a shot at the title on the line.
Yeah, Kevin Martenson then putting all of his weight in 450. But what 450 needs to do here is he needs to get his senses together and try and get out of that corner. That's a dangerous place to be when you're fighting in Kevin Martenson, an athlete of Kevin Martenson's caliber.
I think the size and strength advantage goes to Martenson, and the speed advantage perhaps to 450, but maybe not after that backbreaker. What does this do to the torque that 450 needs for some of his death-defying, high-flying antics?
Well, Kevin Martenson now putting all the pressure on the back and neck of Mr. 450, really grabbing a lock underneath that chin, and referee Rick Knox actually taking a really close look, making sure that it's a legal hold here, asking if he'll submit. But it's going to take a lot more than this to get 450 to quit. Like you said, he's wrestled all over the world, including Puerto Rico, one of the toughest territories to be a professional wrestler in general. the stories of shivs and bottles being broken and thrown at wrestlers. This is the type of environment that 450 came up in. And SoCal's no joke either. I mean, Martenson's faced some of the toughest guys in SoCal, whether it was Scorpio Sky or Willie Mack. Both of these guys just coming from incredible pro wrestling regions.
And he may face Scorpio Sky again if he can get by Mr. 450 and earn a shot at the gold. Senior official Rick Knox in there checking on this. We might have a submission. Is the arm going to drop? No, 450 still alive in this one,
Yeah,
Christian.
he's still alive, staying awake. Referee Rick Knox taking a very close look at whether 450 is unconscious here, but 450 has to twist those hips as he's doing now. But Martenson still taking the back here.
Wow, how about the power of 450 in those legs? A lot of spring in the legs just to lift not only his own body off the canvas, but that of Martenson as well. But Martenson holding on now, trying to keep his enemy close.
That's exactly right, Todd Kennelly. Now the corner seems to be to the advantage of 450 as he carries him to the other side of the ring. What kind of energy is that going to take out of 450 to carry a 220-pound man across the ring? But he's sprinting from the other corner. Ooh! Big axe kick by Martenson. Stopped there by 450.
Wow, where's 450? Oh, man, talking about a kick. Goal!
Wow, that was incredible. Just throwing Martenson up into the air and Pele kicking him to the back. And both of these men been working on each other's backs the entire match, trying to slow each other down. And what is 450 thinking here?
Well, he went for it earlier, Christian. I don't know if this is well advised. Full head of steam. This time he hits it. Suicide dive right in our laps.
And my broadcast partner, Todd Kennelly, taking a face full of offense.
Thank goodness for guardrails.
And now what's 450 doing here? Oh, and again!
Martenson attempted to counter, but not to be. A pair of suicide dives to the outside there by Mr. 450, and he now finds himself back in the driver's seat. And after the punishment that he ate inside the ring, I don't know where he's finding this from, Christian. Adrenaline, I guess, truly can do wonders.
It's not really well advised for 450 to do two plancha suicidas out to the outside of the ring when he knows if he wins the match, he still has to face Scorpio Sky. Save your body, 450.
Well, he's not going to get a shot, though, if he doesn't get out of this first round. You got to lay it all on the line. Big-time Bulldog spikes him center of the ring. And look at 450 now.
And what
starts
is this? And look at the look in his eyes, folks. Look at the look in 450's eyes as he stands up. And he means business here. Oh!
A little method to the madness. Ooh, yeah. Caught him with the elbow drop.
And an incredible elbow drop it was as he got all the height he could from that top turnbuckle. And what's 450 going to do now? Picking him up by his hair.
What is he going to do? I guess he's thinking. Nice reverse there by Martenson. Goes downstairs with the kick. Back and forth action. This is what PCW is all about. Lay it all on the line.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Spiking Martenson in the middle and a cover here. 1, 2. Oh, and Martenson just kicks out Todd Kennelly. Incredible action here in our second match of the evening at PCW Tidal Wave as Mr. 450 faces Kevin Martenson for the right to go on and face Scorpio Sky later tonight for the Light Heavyweight Championship.
That's one of his favorite weapons, that DDT outside inside. He calls it the final flash, but that might be the setup for his namesake. Can he hit the 450? No. Looked like he was electing maybe frog splash, countered in midair, called the audible. Martenson bull rushes him straight back into the corner.
Yeah, now Martenson with the advantage here into the corner. What's Martenson going to do on the top? Oh, my goodness. And you saw his neck snap back and forth, a whiplash maneuver there. Oh, my goodness, and a brain buster by Martenson.
That's got to do it. I don't know how.
That's got to be it.
Unbelievable. Kicking down, digging down deep. How is the head of 450 even still attached after that, Christian Cole?
I don't know, psychologically or physically speaking, I don't know how his head is, because one of these guys will face Scorpio Sky, and yet they're leaving it all in the ring here. How are either of these guys going to be fit, no matter who the winner is, to face Scorpio Sky for that PCW Light Heavyweight Championship?
But and now Mr. 450, you see the effects, Christian. He's not moving. That spinal column has taken a beating throughout this match.
Did Kevin Martenson just call for a 450? Wait, what's this?
Well, I don't think in this case imitation would have been the sincerest form of flattery. Martenson goes for a ride, but he rolls through. He countered, saved himself.
Big elbow counter by Martenson here. What's this? Oh, no. Oh, no!
Suplex off the top. He took him all the way across the ring there, Christian Cole. Getting some frequent flyer miles in this one.
And I think I know what this is. Look at the face of 450. He knows it. PCW crowd knows it. Is this it? Yes!
450 on the money. But Mr. 450, he advances. But look at him. He went through a war with Martenson. He still has to face Scorpio Sky. Mr. 450 may be the last of his kind, but will he be the first ever PCW light heavyweight champion?
I would say if Vegas put out the betting odds right now at this moment, mid-show, you'd have to say that Scorpio Sky has the advantage against Mr. 450. He's fresh. He's ready to go. And as crazy as 450 is, he actually still looks pretty good. I mean, I know he's banged up, but he looks like a confident man. Look at the look of that man's eyes. That's a man that's determined to win the light heavyweight championship of PCW.
Mr. 450, hot off of in-ring action, victorious in round 1 of the PCW heavyweight tournament, going up in the next round against the undefeated Scorpio Sky. Are you concerned?
No, I'm not concerned. And what you should be concerned about is the fact that this is a light heavyweight championship tournament. But back to your question, Scorpio Sky, the man that's been making waves all over California. You've been in TNA, been in many places, but there's one thing that you've never done, and that is beat Mr. 450. Tonight at PCW, I will make history as I crown myself as the new light heavyweight champion. Why? Because I am the last of my kind.
That's the light heavyweight championship.
By virtue of his win, Mr. 450 advances to the final round against the undefeated ace of the ultralight division, Scorpio Sky. The self-proclaimed King of Sting earned himself a bye after going 3-0 in his first 3 matches. And in 2 weeks, Sky and 450 will collide to become the inaugural ultralight champion. Coming up next, Caesar Black leads Fatu into battle against young upstart Douglas James. We got more Mutiny coming up right after this.
In Japan, we have embraced many things from the West. We honor them. We celebrate them. And master them. In return, we offer something for you to enjoy. Sapporo, Japan's oldest beer brand, now brewed and enjoyed around the world. And our way of saying,
Arigato.
Lo
purest of elements. Absolute destruction. Purge, cleanse. So pure in its righteous anger. It purges the land. Just like fight peace. Pacific Coast Wrestling needs fire. It needs a purging. It needs a renaissance of blood. The only question that I would ask, how far down the rabbit hole are you willing to go? Son, you better get angry. Are you willing to take it to levels unseen by mortal man? Or are you happy in your digital two-dimensional world of fame and fortune? You are no longer safe, Pacific Coast Wrestling. You are no longer safe from Caesar Black. You are no longer safe anywhere. There will be a purge.
From Los Angeles, California, weighing 170 pounds, Douglas James.
Great way to kick things off here at Clear the Way. In addition to those 3 big matchups that we documented, to kick things off, we have Douglas James. This youngster has never met a fight he didn't like when you think about the tough customers he's been in there with so far here in PCW.
At our last show, Tidal Wave, and you can find that show on PacificCoastWrestling.com, Douglas James displayed the heart of a champion. He's had a few tough losses here in PCW, Todd Kennelly, but what we know about him is he is a fighter. Everyone wants to talk about Scorpio Sky being the MMA wrestling crossover. Well, Douglas James has a historic run in MMA as well, something to watch here in this fight.
And his opponent, from the Isles of Samoa, weighing 260 pounds and accompanied to the ring by Caesar Black, he is Fatu!
What an impression Jacob Fatu made last time here at PCW. Absolutely ran through Jorel Nelson. Jacob Fatu, the son of the legendary Tonga Kid, the nephew of Rikishi. But I'll tell you what about Fatu. He's got the intensity of Umaga, the athleticism of the Usos. He is really like a Samoan Dynasty Frankenstein's monster.
You know, I gotta say, if you've never seen Jacob Fatu in action, you are blessed to join us here on this broadcast, because everyone wants to talk about all of the big man athletes in this business. Well, there is none that embodies the speed and agility of a big man quite like Jacob Fatu.
And the heritage born into this sport, it runs through his veins. You talked about notable losses for Douglas James. Well, you think about the level of competition. Douglas James losses in a war against the Almighty Sheik and a tough loss against Ryan Taylor as well, but coming off of a victory over the very tough Bateman. You talk about the losses, he might lose some teeth in there with Fatu.
You gotta admire the courage of Douglas James as he hits the ropes here and goes for a submission early. And look at this, and this is amazing here. Whoa, no, the power!
Oh my goodness, not gonna happen, but out the back door goes Douglas James. Low center of gravity by the big man, nobody home. Shockwaves, they felt that on the fault line here.
And you can see the frustration on Caesar Black on the outside of the ring. The manager of Jacob Fatu is now, oh my goodness!
Incredible power, athleticism, elevated into the Samoan drop, putting his own wrinkle on it.
And I was gonna say earlier, before Jacob Fatu started throwing Douglas James all around the ring, just the courage for James to step in the ring with this killer. The last time we saw Douglas James, oh, these right hands. The last time we saw Douglas James, he was bleeding all over the ring as he fought the Sheik coming off a suspension. And, I mean, he's dealing all the wrong cards here he's getting.
Oh my goodness, a thunderous chop there by Fatu, echoing off the walls. And the fans can't help but marvel at the intensity, the athleticism of the big man.
He's an absolutely marvelous presence here in this professional wrestling industry. And certainly, if Jacob Fatu continues to put athletes away the way he has, it'll be a short time before he can make his way towards the heavyweight title.
Could be in awe of the athleticism, but look at the athleticism here. Uh-oh, into a guillotine choke. That's one way to put the big guy down, put him to sleep.
And just as I said, Todd Kennelly, Douglas James displaying his grappling here in the pro wrestling ring, able to take some of the skills from the mixed martial arts arena and bring them in here to pro wrestling.
You've seen a lot of MMA in your day. Have you ever seen anybody escape a guillotine quite like that, Christian?
No, but with the power and the mismatch in weight here, I mean, really, it's going to be difficult to get a submission on Jacob Fatu. And what will his manager have to say? I mean, we can't forget about Caesar Black on the outside, stalking Fatu, or rather stalking Douglas James.
Absolutely. Caesar Black, some ominous words as of late. If you keep up with social media, Pacific Coast Wrestling, he said there's going to be a purging. There's going to be a purging
What did he
in
mean by
blood.
that,
Well,
Todd?
I think we're finding out with the aggression here of Jacob Fatu. He will pummel you into submission.
You know, I've known Caesar Black for a long time, Jacob Fatu's manager. This is a guy, he's a schemy guy. He's up
Swing
to
and
no
a miss.
good always. Yeah, look at this.
A little rope-a-dope here, and I think Fatu, he's built for sprints, not marathons, and the big man's rocking and reeling, but is he in jeopardy? Cross-body attempt, no sir! Swinging slam by Fatu!
And an incredible slam by Fatu, and it looks like Douglas James is out on his feet here as he goes towards the ropes.
Somewhere, Umaga and Yokozuna are smiling down at that one right out of the old playbook. And now a big super kick.
Oh, what is he thinking here? What's Fatu gonna do here?
Well, we saw how he finished up Nelson. Look at this, a moonsault, defying gravity, and beating James.
Your winner of the match, Fatu!
Caesar Black went deep into Monster Island to find this guy, and how on earth are you gonna stop him?
An incredible story so far as we've seen Douglas James try hard in this industry, try hard in PCW to come up and get a roster spot, a permanent spot here. And really no shame in losing to a guy like Jacob Fatu. He's a massive individual.
Douglas James coming off of a victory over Bateman. We know how tough he is. He took Sheik to a war. He took Ryan Taylor to the limit. This was dominant. This was decisive by Fatu.
That's exactly right. Incredible stuff. What will be next from Fatu and his manager Caesar Black as they arrogantly make their way out of the PCW arena here?
What's next for Fatu? I'd say whatever the hell he wants.
Another opponent, another dominant victory for the Samoan Werewolf. By this point, Fatu was quickly becoming a force in the heavyweight division, but nobody could have possibly prepared for what will eventually disrupt the entire Ultra landscape by year's end. And if you want to see Clear the Way in its entirety, check out PCWOnDemand.com. Rob Van Dam, Scorpio Sky, Willie Mack, Hammerstone, Jeff Cobb, and more headline our final event of our inaugural year. Still to come, Brian Cage makes his Ultra debut against the undefeated JR Kratos in tournament action to crown the first ever PCW Ultra champion. Mutiny rolls on right after this. Time to give a huge shout out to the band Odd Palace for The Unknown, which is the anthem of PCW Ultra Mutiny. It's available on Apple Music, Spotify, and streaming outlets everywhere. Next week on Mutiny, we take you back to Tidal Wave as Reno Scum takes on Keepers of the Faith to become the inaugural PCW Ultra Tag Team Champions. Reno Scum made an immediate impression as you saw last week, dispatching of Los Luchas. And back at The Shining, the KOTF exacted a measure of revenge against Fat Dick Johnson and the Classic Connection. Let's relive it on this week's Ultra Rewind.
Connection stole a victory over these two last time they went at it, and the Keepers of the Faith return the favor and get some redemption. The Classic Connection are experts when it comes to the misdirection, to the double teaming. So to your point, the official's really going to have his head on a swivel.
Ultimately, we will crown tag team champions here in Pacific Coast Wrestling. But for now, these guys are all trying to make a statement of why they should be in that match. What the hell was that?
With the double teaming, Valley scores with the elbow drop.
Johnson doesn't know that it was reversed. Keepers of the Faith beat him in their own game. I love it.
You know, let's just cut the nonsense and let's just get right to it. Pacific Coast Wrestling is the hottest thing going today with the best wrestlers around. And that's why on August 20th, the Keepers of the Faith are coming to win the Tag Team Championships. And we get it, man, we get it. It's not gonna be easy, especially with a world-class team like the Reno Scum standing in our way. And there's very few teams that can give us a fair matchup, and the Reno Scum just happen to be one of them. But if you think for 1 second that we're gonna let that stop us from becoming the very best tag team around, oh, you got another thing coming. Am I out of line here, or am I just crazy?
A tag title showdown that has brutality written all over it. We'll also see Pentagon Jr. battle Willie Mack in the other first round bout to crown the inaugural PCW Ultra Champion. Relive the first ever one-on-one encounter between Cero Miedo and the hometown favorite. The winner of that match goes on to face the winner of this one, the effing machine, Brian Cage, versus the undefeated God of War, JR Kratos.
California, weighing 262 pounds, he's the Swole Machine, Mr. Beachside, Brian Cage!
The Machine, Brian Cage, making his PCW debut. Christian Cole, are we looking at the next and first ever PCW heavyweight champion?
You know, some folks at home may speculate that this man, with his chiseled features, his awesome haircut, his killer beard, this man may be the face of PCW, and I would like that. I think they would like that, but I still have to say, for me, Willie Mack seems to be the dark horse in this competition. But if Brian Cage is going to win the heavyweight title first, he's going to have to get past his opponent here. That's Kratos.
From Sacramento, California, weighing 287 pounds, JR Kratos!
The God of War cometh again. JR Kratos ready for battle. Christian Cole, a man who has never been pinned in PCW, has victories over the Golden Boy, Dylan Drake, over Jeff Cobb, an Olympic grappler. Now, faced off with Willie Mack and Jeff Cobb at Relentless in a triple threat match, but it was Cobb that was pinned and defeated in that matchup by Willie Mack, not this man.
Yeah, you absolutely know your history. You're educating our fans on the history of PCW. This man is a wrestler's wrestler. This man is a Goliath of a man. Some would say a monster. Some would say perhaps a god. JR Kratos hits the ring, and he has the biggest test of his career in Brian Cage.
First round tournament matchup. The winner of this will take on the winner of Willie Mack and Pentagon Jr. What a heavyweight title tournament put together here by Pacific Coast Wrestling. Incredible. And two big bulls about to lock horns in this one.
Yeah, you couldn't have put it any better than that, Todd Kennelly. Two big bulls about to lock horns in the center of the ring. And let's listen to these fans. and a conflicting chant. Some saying, let's go Kratos. Some saying, let's go Cage.
Split right down the middle. Kratos, so powerful. Likewise, Brian Cage. And if every offensive coordinator in the NFL were to combine their playbooks, I don't think it would have more pages than the offensive weaponry of Brian Cage.
That's exactly right. Brian Cage, yet another behemoth of a man that wrestles like a cruiserweight. I mean, this man can fly. Don't let his huge physique fool you. Don't let his awesome striking in the middle of the ring fool you. This guy is agile. He's quick on his feet. He's a smart wrestler. But just as Brian Cage is a huge test for JR Kratos, JR Kratos, a massive test for the machine, Brian Cage.
Oh man, both big behemoths trading shoulder blocks. Now the agility comes into play by Kratos. Two big heavyweights that move like the light heavyweights we just saw. And Kratos looks like he got shot out of a cannon. Just trucked Cage, and now Cage returns the favor. Unreal.
And just as you knock either one of these men down in the middle of the ring, they pop right back up. Me, you, anyone at home who would take a shoulder tackle from one of these guys, we'd be down for weeks. These guys popping right back up. They know what's at stake here, Todd Kennelly. The heavyweight championship of the world tournament starts right now.
And much like Mr. 450, the winner of this is going to have to go on to another matchup, so you have to keep that somewhere in the back of your mind.
Wow. And that is not smart by JR Kratos. You don't want to piss this guy off in Brian Cage. Oh, man.
And a fact needs to be made here is that Brian Cage, as of late, he is the machine. And now we see it. Can Kratos take him over?
Could this be it?
Great athleticism. Cage has really deemed himself the luchador destroyer. He's been throwing around luchadors. He's not used to being in there with somebody the size and strength of Kratos, at least not in recent history.
That's actually a great point. Cage been really running roughshod on all of the luchadors of America, Mexico, Puerto Rico, everywhere. But now a huge test against Kratos. And what is this? Oh! Man, and Cage was thinking some offense over there on the rope, but Kratos cutting him off in the center of the ring.
Second time that Kratos has left his feet, earlier with the shoulder block, now a clothesline, and a lethal forearm shot there for Cage. And Kratos, you know, Cage bounced right up in the early going of this matchup. Right now, I think Kratos has him rocked. Good leverage on the reversal, though, by Cage. And it might indeed be Judgment Day for one of these two.
Oh, man. And a huge belly-to-belly. You know, it's noteworthy that the amount of strength that it takes to take a belly-to-belly on a man like Brian Cage in the middle of the ring. Brian Cage exceeds 290 pounds, maybe 300 on a good day. And Kratos just tossed him like a rag doll.
Oh, man. Somebody call LAX. We almost had a giant jumbo jet taken off. But Cage cuts him off, gets back inside, counters with the leg lariat, and now Cage is back and forth. Seesaw, heavyweight battle, shot at the finals on the line. And I got a feeling this one is just getting started, Christian Cole.
That's right. Now these two brawling around the ring as the fans, they're trying to cool them off, as you can see, because these two dudes are hot. And Brian Cage now hearing it from the fans. What an incredible matchup here we have in our heavyweight championship tournament here at PCW Tidal Wave. The winner of this match will go on to face the winner of Willie Mack and Pentagon Jr. And we will see,
Cage is in trouble on the outside.
We will see a heavyweight champion tonight.
I understand that, but they're heads-up move by Kratos because they were flirting with disaster. I mean, what happens if there's a double count out here? I would think Willie Mack and Pentagon Jr. would be just straight-up title match.
That would make perfect sense if there is a double disqualification in this match. Oh, wow. And a hell of a chop by Kratos. But if there was a double disqualification in this match, you would definitely see the next match go straight for the title.
I think it's take Brian Cage's nipple home night here because I think it flew somewhere into the 5th row after that chop by Kratos.
And Cage now returning the favor with a chop on JR Kratos. Now Cage rolling in and breaking the count, and both of these guys want to brawl on the outside.
Jumping kick there by Kratos, goes upstairs. Again, incredible athleticism by two big men, Christian.
Absolutely incredible athleticism. And if I was Kratos, I would try to pick Cage's big body up and roll him back into the ring. There's been enough brawl. There it is. See, there's been enough brawling on the outside. I think he has Cage where he wants him. He just needs to get him into the center so he can get a lateral press and get a 1-2-3.
I was about to say that thus far in the matchup, I think Kratos had hit the more meaningful strikes, but until then, thunderous shot by Cage. Oh my good, no way. I think gravity wins this one. Oh, he did it! He did it!
Incredible strength by Brian Cage. And now what is he thinking as he climbs to the top rope? And what will we see here from the machine? Oh, an elbow drop rolling off. And now getting the lateral press. And a 2 count.
I'm still astonished that Cage was able to get that big body up from the apron, over the top with the superplex and the machine. This Terminator of sorts, I think his prime directive, total destruction of Kratos.
Cage now lifting his opponent back up to his feet to a vertical base and trying to establish some sort of oh my God. And Kratos comes out of nowhere with those knees.
Kratos digging down deep. I mean, you gotta believe he is not used to being manhandled the way he's been by Cage and vice versa into the cover. That hand was coming down for 3.
And look at the face of JR Kratos and the frustration that he expresses. He knows what's at stake here. A world championship shot is at stake, and he can't put the machine away. And how do you do it, Todd Kennelly? How do you put away a guy like this?
Easier said than done. And on the flip side, how if you're Cage, how do you put away Kratos? You hit him.
We could be here all night, Todd Kennelly.
Really could. I mean, you hit him with a superplex and an elbow drop off the top, and it wasn't enough. Suplex attempt, but great athleticism by Cage, but he ate a big-time punch, and now German suplex. Turning him inside out. Into the covers, Kratos going to the finals.
And
not yet.
And veteran referee Mickey Moreno indicating that was a 2 count. He has the best seat in the house, the best view of those 2 shoulders being on the mat and for how long they stay there. And Moreno saying only a 2 count there. And what does Kratos have to do? And look at the face. I don't think even he knows what he has to do here to put this guy away.
Got to dig down deep. I mean, in something like this where you're so well matched, it might just come down to fundamentals. It might come down to some sort of roll-up, catch him quick. Kratos is thinking, though, I believe, game changer. Nice counter by Cage into the spinning back kick. Now comes right up the middle.
And look at this. Oh, incredible move by Cage with a cover. A lackadaisical cover by Cage, not because of arrogance, really I think because of fatigue.
Not enough to put him away, and again, that variation of the F5 he refers to as the Luchador Destroyer. Now, he probably would have destroyed a Luchador with that, but not enough to put away the God of War.
And the fans with a Terminator clap once again, applauding the machine, trying to root him on and give him the motivation he needs to finish this match out and send himself into the heavyweight championship match later this evening. Will the fans be enough for him, for Brian Cage to be able to put away this behemoth?
Digging down deep, thinking vertical suplex. Kratos counters. Nobody home on that big discus. Forearm. Oh, and
pile driver! Pile driver here in a cover.
What a heads-up counter there by Kratos, and again a fraction of an inch away from Kratos advancing to the finals. Everybody's digging way deep into that playbook.
And you have to think that Willie Mack and Pentagon Jr. are in the back watching the monitors, studying both of these men on pins and needles, trying to figure out who's going to face them later on in the evening.
Kratos now perched on that second rope. Cage is a long way away. Cage able to roll out of there. Nobody home on the big splash. No water in the pool. Cage is thinking he's got him here. Oh, drives him down with the screwdriver. Cover, is that gonna do it? No! How? How in the world did Kratos slip his shoulder out of there?
What the hell just happened? And veteran referee Mickey Moreno saying that a shoulder slipped up and that Kratos survives. And will this be Kratos' time to take over? He's been given another life here, Todd.
These two are sweating, paying the price. Folds him up with the power bomb, and that's gonna do it.
Your winner of the match and advancing in the heavyweight tournament, Brian Cage.
And Brian Cage with the victory over Kratos. Somehow, he was able to keep the shoulders of Kratos down for 3 seconds with that big power bomb, and then leaning over into the cover. Brian Cage, impressive here in his debut at PCW, and he moves on in our heavyweight championship tournament.
Impressive. That's an understatement of the year after what could have been the heavyweight match of the year. But Brian Cage is not done yet. He earns his spot in the finals, but he's got one more big hurdle to jump if he's going to call himself champion. And I can't wait to see what Willie Mack and Pentagon Jr. have in hand. How are you going to top that?
And who will it be? Will it be Willie Mack? Will it be Pentagon Jr.? Who will face Brian Cage? Stick around to find out for the PCW Heavyweight Championship.
I can't make a better pitch than that. Pentagon Jr. versus Willie Mack in their first ever one-on-one encounter. It's simple. Win and you're in against the machine. Also next week, Reno Scum take on Keepers of the Faith to become the inaugural Ultra Tag Team Champions. It's a loaded program next week. Don't miss it. For our entire crew, this is Mike Simmons, and we'll catch you next week here on Mutiny.